Welcome to Frost and Sullivan's Growth Podcast. In each episode, we take a deeper look at transformative shifts shaping global ecosystems, from industry megatrends and technology innovation to evolving customer expectations. Today, we're exploring genetic testing at scale, from specialized diagnostics to integrated precision care, unpacking where the next wave of opportunity is unfolding and what it means for future-ready businesses.
Thanks for having me. Genetic testing is entering a very different phase now. What used to be a highly specialized diagnostic capability is steadily becoming a core part of how healthcare systems approach prevention, treatment, personalization, and even long-term population health planning.
What's driving this shift from niche diagnostics to more mainstream use in healthcare?
Several forces are converging. On one hand, there's a clear clinical push toward earlier risk identification, whether that's in oncology, prenatal health, or chronic disease management. On the other hand, healthcare systems are dealing with rising demand for reproductive and preventive services. So genetic testing is increasingly seen as a way to intervene earlier, reduce downstream costs, and improve outcomes. At the same time, patient awareness is growing, and people are more open to proactive health insights than ever before.
But healthcare systems are already under pressure. What makes scaling genetic testing difficult today?
The challenge isn't demand, it's execution. Many systems still struggle with fragmented access to testing services, inconsistent reimbursement policies, and a lack of standardized approaches to interpreting genetic data. Even when testing is available, integrating results into clinical workflows in a way that actually supports decision-making remains complex. So while the science is advancing quickly, operational readiness is still catching up.
Despite that, the industry is growing rapidly.
Yes, and that growth is quite significant. We're talking about nearly 9.8% CAGR through 2030. What's interesting is that this isn't just volume growth, it reflects structural change. Next-generation sequencing is becoming more affordable and scalable. AI is improving interpretation accuracy, and digital platforms are enabling broader distribution of testing services beyond traditional lab environments.
So the way testing is delivered is fundamentally changing.
Exactly. We're seeing a clear shift from isolated lab-centric models to integrated, data-driven ecosystems. Instead of genetic testing sitting in a silo, it's now being embedded into broader care pathways, connected to electronic health records, clinical decision tools, and even patient-facing digital platforms. This integration is what ultimately enables faster insights and more consistent clinical adoption.
Let's talk about the key forces reshaping this space.
There are three major shifts. First, disruptive technologies like miniaturized sequencing are decentralizing testing. Second, industry convergence is bringing together AI, digital health, and reproductive technologies. And third, competitive intensity is rising sharply as costs fall and demand expands, especially in high-volume testing areas like prenatal and hereditary screening.
Starting with disruptive technologies, what stands out most?
Miniaturized next-generation sequencing is particularly important. It reduces reliance on centralized labs, which traditionally created bottlenecks in turnaround time and access. Now, with more compact and scalable sequencing systems, testing can be distributed more widely, including in outpatient and even near point-of-care settings. That shift alone is reducing turnaround times by days in some cases, which has real clinical implications.
That seems to change access quite significantly.
It does. It effectively democratizes access to genetic testing. Instead of being limited to major hospital networks or reference labs, more healthcare providers can now integrate genetic testing into their workflows. That means patients can get insights earlier in their care journey, not weeks or months later.
And convergence with digital health and AI is another big theme.
Yes, and arguably one of the most transformative. AI is now playing a central role in variant interpretation, which has traditionally been one of the most complex and time-consuming parts of genetic testing. At the same time, digital health platforms are embedding these insights directly into clinical workflows, making it easier for physicians to act on them. We're also seeing strong convergence in areas like non-invasive prenatal testing, pharmacogenomics, and reproductive genomics, where decision-making is becoming more dynamic and data-driven.
How is competition evolving in this environment?
Competition is intensifying across nearly every segment. As sequencing costs decline, more players are entering areas like carrier screening, hereditary cancer testing, and prenatal diagnostics. But the real differentiator is no longer just test availability, it's reimbursement access, integration into clinical systems, and the ability to navigate regulatory complexity. Companies that can't embed themselves into healthcare workflows will struggle to scale, even if their technology is strong.
Let's shift to where genetic testing is expanding fastest.
Prenatal testing is one of the fastest growing areas, especially non-invasive prenatal testing and expanded carrier screening. Predictive and pre-symptomatic testing is also gaining momentum, particularly in oncology and pharmacogenomics. Newborn screening is expanding as well, especially in regions where governments are investing in early detection programs. Across all of these, the common driver is the same: earlier insight leading to better long-term outcomes.
Are we also seeing differences across regions?
Yes, very clearly. Emerging markets in Asia Pacific, Latin America, and parts of the Middle East are seeing strong growth in reproductive and newborn screening, driven by rising birth rates and government-led health initiatives. In more mature markets, the focus is shifting toward advanced panels and integration into routine preventive care.
Thanks for joining us on Frost and Sullivan's Growth Podcast. For access to our research, competitive benchmarking, and best practice frameworks, head over to frost.com or email hello@frost.com. We'll be back soon with more to help you stay clear-headed and growth ready.